Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or it's 2 a.m. Go to bed already. This is Eagle Eyes on Tech. I am Eagle Falcon after 6 full starts, or however many that was, because the soundboard glitched to no end. In any case, as I said, I'm Eagle Falcon. It's great to be here on a nice Sunday afternoon, or morning in this case. We've got quite a bit to talk about. And for starters, I want to talk about something I just found out about that was issued yesterday. Or not yesterday. This was just issued... I think the first alert I got about it was on Friday. This particular article wasn't written until today. In fact, actually this morning it wasn't written about. And that is flat out the government urging Windows users to uninstall QuickTime. So this comes from a few things. One, there is already at least 2 major security vulnerabilities, one of which is confirmed to be able to be exploited to take control of the computer. And second, Apple's doing nothing about it. Apple just seems to just not want to issue any updates for QuickTime on Windows. And the bummer is that QuickTime is automatically installed on anytime you install iTunes for Windows. So, if you want to use iTunes, which I know quite a few people do for, whether it's just for archiving music, or if it's just for like I use as a podcast downloader and repository, you have QuickTime installed, and you really pretty much should go and uninstall it because it isn't used for much really when push comes to shove. But anyway, this article, it's a very short one. This comes from 6ABC. I'm not sure where that's particularly located, but it reads as follows. The U.S. government has issued an urgent alert to Windows customers. Homeland Security is telling Windows users to uninstall Apple's QuickTime program. QuickTime is a video and audio software that one time was widely used to play movie trailers and other internet media clips. Let me interject. It was only ever used to play files that were made on Macs. The overwhelming majority of people used open platforms. Even back in the day, there was very few times where movie trailers and whatnot were on the .mov format, which is what QuickTime used. Anyway, the article continues. Apple's last QuickTime update came late January, but Apple decided last week not to issue any more security updates for QuickTime on Windows. The software still works, but without support, it could increase risk from viruses, and other security threats. Super. The company that has managed to make an iPhone that stumped the government from being able to get onto it when they had physical access to the device and put security as their number one priority with encryption and whatnot, said, hey, look, you guys who still use QuickTime on Windows, like suckers, yeah, screw you guys. Enjoy your giant gaping security hole that you now have because you were stupid enough to have our software on it. What the heck kind of mentality is that? Seriously. It just blows me away. Like, everyone says, like, oh, you need to uninstall Adobe, you need to uninstall Adobe, Adobe's just a giant security risk. At least Adobe patches itself. At least Adobe takes steps to go ahead and fix itself, to make itself better. To at least, it keeps making steps to make itself more secure. Apple literally just said, yeah, your front door lock doesn't work. Bye. Well, thanks. Thanks for that. We're just not going to use your door and your lock anymore. Good job, Apple. Way to make yourself seem... This is such a black eye. After everything they just accomplished with security by standing up for encryption, and they just piss it all away. It's just terrible. Poor choices, Apple. Moving on to this story. If you don't know about this one, you've been living under a rock for quite some time. And I'm very curious as to where your rock was, because some days I'd like to live under a rock and just ignore the terrible outside world. But in any case, for those who somehow don't know, the recent terrorist attack in San Bernardino, California, which actually was quite a bit of time ago and feels like it was even longer ago. It feels like it was like years ago. Like 4 years ago or more. But it was only like, what, 6 months? If that? But anyway, one of the terrorists had an iPhone. And it was a government-issued iPhone, which actually makes this story even funnier. And the FBI obviously wanted to get into this iPhone. But it was password protected. So the FBI went to Apple and said, we want you to make a firmware patch and to force a new operating system onto the iPhone so that we can bypass the password. Apple said no, because that creates a backdoor to possibly break into other iPhones. And then there's a whole legal argument of who's right, who's not, and there was a lot of people in favor of the FBI. The thing is that, why? Why would you be in favor of the FBI wanting to create a backdoor? Well, but it's not a backdoor, it's going to be a tool that's used once. Get real. Seriously, get real. First off, you want to argue that it's not a backdoor because it's altering the device. A backdoor is defined as any sort of method to bypass the main... to bypass the front door, which in this case is the password. To be able to say, oh yeah, let's just make an operating system we can just go 111, 1112, 1113, 1114, 1115. Hey, look at that. Apple software wants to update. And hey, look at that. It tells me I should update QuickTime. When did this update come out? Just out of curiosity. I'm actually curious. 7.7.9. This was not planned. This actually just happened. That's kind of funny. For more information on the security update, let's open up a new window. Where'd it go? Okay, I'm going to drag this over here. No, that looks like a nightmare. QuickTime. Where is it? Oh my god, I can't find it. Alright, so actually the most recent one was iOS 3. So that's the 7.7.9. That's the one that was released in January. So the one they just pushed me now still isn't the new one. So no, that's not news at all. That's just, hey look, Twithead, you didn't update your QuickTime, which I really should just go uninstall, for reasons I just mentioned. But anyway, so the FBI couldn't get into this iPhone because they didn't have the password. The thing is that the phone was owned by the state of California. As a result, they should have had remote access software installed, which they did. But someone messed up over there and changed the password, which then locked the remote access users out of the phone. And before you go, oh no, the terrorist off, you just let, no. Someone on the remote access end requested a password change, and that locked out the other phones. And then that created the problem. So it was someone's incompetence over at remote access that started this whole skedaddle. So then the FBI wanted Apple. No, they wanted to do a huge legal battle that lasted for months. Eventually, the FBI was just like, "Up, we got in. All right, take care. Drop everything." Then Apple's like, "Well, wait a minute. How would you get in? We want to know so we can like patch this." And FBI's like, "Nope, we found a way. We had a third party involved, and we're not telling you. We're only going to use this tool for good." Now, Apple tells the New York judge that FBI has utterly failed to prove that it needs help with unlocking iPhones. So this comes from the whole thing in that the FBI went to them and say, "We need help with this," and then they just go and do it anyway. So this battle's just still going on. It's still raging on and on. This is just another like poke back and forth. But I want to use this opportunity to just state a few things. I am what they call an amateur hacker. I don't know much about hacking, but what I do know is pretty basic knowledge that I could accomplish very basic things in the world of hacking. I could bypass a password. I could do, very minor things. But I like to keep my white hat, which I carry around here somewhere. I don't know where it is. So I don't do malicious things. Especially since I'd be pretty confident that if I tried malicious things, I would get caught because I'm bad at it. And then I'd end up in jail for being an idiot. So I don't. I stick to using my knowledge for bolstering security and whatnot. One of the things I've learned, and this is from Darren Kitchen of Hack 5, one thing he says repeatedly: once you have physical access of the device, all bets are off. The tricky part about hacking is to do it remotely. To be able to take a device and just say, someone wants to get at my contacts in this cell phone here. To be able to access the phone remotely without me knowing it and get the data off. Once they have physical access to the device, it's real easy. Just drop the phone, for starters, go in, and just try pins. Alright, you have a password here, you can see it. And there's just multiple ways to get around it. What I suspect happened with the device is that the phone glitched and they just got in. This happens all the time on Android and iOS. See, one of the things with the phones, and now actually my phone recently upgraded to Marshmallow, so this option's now completely gone, because it was exploited quite a bit, was that you used to be able to have a button like down here where you could just swipe up and get access to a camera. That doesn't work anymore. They got rid of that because sometimes the processor would just glitch and then bypass the PIN or the password. Apple still has that, and I suspect that's what happened. That it was just a minor happy accident. That the operating system did not act as intended, and it just let it in. I have no proof of that. That's what I guess happened. And the FBI is being all super secret about it because they don't want to admit, like, yeah, we just got lucky. They want to continue to have the illusion that we are all powerful hacking man and we can get into anything. There is no hiding from us if you are villain. When in reality, they got damn lucky. That is my guess. I have no proof of this, but I feel pretty confident that that's what happened. But keeping with Apple, here's something that's kind of interesting. Not really useful in any way, just kind of interesting. Apple hints at a future macOS name change on a new environmental webpage. This comes from 9to5Mac. So in this in this new environmental web page where they just refer to various this and that's, they refer to OS, which is right now OS X, as Mac OS. The funny thing about this, to me anyway, is that haven't we been calling this Mac OS for the longest time ever? I mean, seriously. Everyone's been calling it Mac OS since, like, OS 8. Everyone was just like, oh, it's Mac OS 8. Or Mac OS 9. Or when I was selling computers, it was always Mac OS 10. Oh yeah, this eMac runs Mac OS 10.2 Cheetah. Or 10.3 Leopard. Oh yeah, don't worry, it runs Mac OS Snow Leopard. Referring to the various cats. The fact that it's not... When I first heard this was on CNET. I heard it on. When they did their just quick roundups. I had to replay it like 3 times, and it's like, wait, how is that news? Because I was like half listening while I was looking for other articles. And I heard like, wait, how is it being referred to macOS News? Isn't it always macOS? We've always called it macOS! It's macOS, iOS, watchOS. I mean, the bigger thing is that they are referring to Apple TV as tvOS. I wasn't entirely certain that they were calling it that. So that's kind of interesting, and I wonder if that points to finally moving away from OS 10. Does that mean there's finally going to be a Mac OS 11? That they're just going to finally drop that? Is the next version, which still might be a point release, call it just Mac OS 11? And then just every single little minor update, call it Mac OS 12. Because now, number-wise, Windows has finally caught up to them. There is no longer the number illusion, which has always been irrelevant, to say that, oh yeah, Macs are definitely more advanced because they're running on version 10. And Windows only just now got Windows 7. In the end, it doesn't matter much. It's still fascinating that after all this time, that it's just now being called Mac OS instead of anything else. Alright, so before we cut to the break, let me get to this little adorable, whatever you want to call this. This comes from The Verge. Sharp's ultra-cute Robohan robot phone goes on sale next month. This is a sign that A, you live in the future, and B, just what even? So for those of you who can't see, this is a little robot that it runs Android on the back. It's got a projector on the front, a camera. It talks back to you. It reads off your texts. It does like everything you'd expect from a little assistant, and it does it less than average quality, I'd say. But it costs $1,800. This is an $1,800 toy. And it just... I don't know what else to tell you. It's an $1,800 toy. How long until... It's just... What else can you say? It's an $1,800 toy. That's enough of that. Let's move on. I'll be right back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech! I am Eagle Falcon. God, I love that music so much. Just can't get enough of Megalovania. In any case, did you know that there's still e-readers around? You would think in a world where there are actually halfway decent $100 tablets, and $50 if you want to count the Amazon Fire, I sure as heck don't, that e-readers would have pretty much just been like, yeah, they exist, and they're like basically the equivalent of TI-34 school calculators. That they're around, they're like $30 or whatever. Amazon introduced this week the Kindle Oasis. This comes from The Verge. I originally saw this on CNET. This thing, it's a very thin e-reader with a bulge on one side where the page left and page right buttons are on the same side. A very nice design. I'm actually very in favor of that. The bulge reminds me a lot of the Lenovo tablets, so it's ergonomic on the one side. It comes with a magnetic case that is leather, contains an extra battery, so you know, on one charge it just lasts until you're dead. Actually, it's closer to like several months, but still, that's so much battery. You're gonna forget to charge the thing once in a while. And it has new lighting technology. It's brighter, it's much more adjustable, it's a touch screen. It's lighter at only 4.6 ounces. It is 3.1 millimeters at the thinnest part. So, what's wrong with it? Well, it's not even water resistant. And it's $290. $290. That is a 2, followed by a 9, followed by a 0. You want to know what you can get for $290? You could get a brand new iPad mini and still have $20 left over. You could get two Android tablets on the cheap and still have about $50 left over to just go try the Amazon Fire. So, why? Amazon, what were you thinking? What were you legitimately thinking? This is such a waste of everything. Who's going to buy this? Idiots are going to buy this. Not even overly wealthy people will buy this, because they're just going to look at it and go, oh, why? I'd rather go get an iPad, full color. Or I'll go get a real tablet. Why? This fits in nothing. This fits in no category. The book reader is just going to get a different e-ink reader that costs, 1/3 the price of this thing. The hardcore enthusiast is just going to get books. Or just, get a real e-reader or a tablet. And those who are too stupid to know what to do with their money is just going to get an iPad. Or get an iPad Pro, or either of the sizes. Whatever. This is so stupid. This is the stupidest thing I have seen all week. But not the silliest. No. The silliest goes to this Forbes article, which, by the way, Forbes, your ad light experience? Boo. Come on. Fucking radio stations have less ads than your ad light experience. This is the last time I ever pull an article from Forbes. I would think I would learn my lesson, but I have to use ad blocks because I don't want to have most of my screen be an advertisement. Because in the end, the whole reason I get these things is just to have the article. So, here's what this is. So, let's say you have a Google Calendar, and you schedule your life around this Google Calendar. So you can just go, oh, can I fit you in? No, I can't. But let's say you're just like, well, I really need to exercise more. Lord knows I do. But where can I fit it in my schedule? Well, with a push of a few buttons, Google Calendar will automatically pencil in sections to fit these goals. Whether it's to work out, run, walk, do yoga, whatever. Whatever it might be. It'll show you exactly where it can pencil it in. This is... I have so many mixed feelings about this. This is really stupid, for starters. The fact that a robot's going to try and manipulate my life. It's very useful, because, the calendar already knows how I roll. So, why not just automatically say, hey, look, we can fit it in there, there, and there. And you just keep going back and forth. You go back to stupidity, it was just like, but why don't I do that? And you go back to, well, isn't it nicer to do it automatically? You don't have to think about it all. You can just go, oh, hey, look, you have a gap there or a gap there. You can totally fit this in. It's just, wow. Just, wow. I don't even know what's going on anymore. So I'm actually curious to see what other people think about it. I'm really torn. Really, really torn about it. It really just makes me feel that Google's getting one step closer to becoming Skynet by just scheduling your life for you. But the Skynet award has to go to freaking Facebook with everything they just announced. So, let me go through TechCrunch's little slideshow of everything that was announced at this week's Facebook's F8 Developer Conference. First off, there were some shots taken at presidential candidate Donald Trump. I don't like the candidate. I don't care, though. This is a tech podcast, not a political one. So, for starters, they announced that the Messenger platform is going to be compatible with chatbots. This is a trend that is really starting to pick up all of a sudden, out of nowhere. The age of all the various chatbots that barely worked and were just kind of fun experiments, now is just starting to make their way into Skype and the Facebook platform now. The whole concept of just saying, having a chatbot be like the automated phone service for a business going. For customer service, press 1. To speak with a representative, press 2. For sales, press 3. To hear more options, press 4. To hang up, press 0. To see the chatbot version of that come in just makes me go, my God. Really? I'm desperately, whenever I'm trying to contact someone for tech support, trying to get out of talking with voice robots. I intentionally just go blah every single time they say, what would you like to do? Blah, blah. I didn't quite catch that. Blah. Let me connect you with an agent, finally. Ugh. So now in the Messenger platform, they're going to do the same. That's... Ugh. Can I just talk with people again? Please? Pretty please? Then Facebook unveiled a 360-degree VR camera. At first when I read this, I'm like, why? And then I remember that Facebook owns Oculus. And then it made sense. The weird thing is that their whole thing was this was just to have was to show other manufacturers this is how you do it, not to actually sell this themselves. Now the funny thing is that this thing can produce 4K, 6K, and even 8K footage. I want to know what RAID array it is connecting to store 8K footage. Because I'll tell you what, if it's going to be one little 512 gigabyte SD card, we are only going to get 15 minutes worth of footage at 8K. Hands down. Not enough to make a VR experience with. Still cool though. Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp combined to see 3K more messages than SMS. Okay. And? I don't get what the big deal is with that. Yes, we're texting more with with apps because they can talk to people who are home and on a computer rather than... Because it's easier for me when someone wants to get a hold of me to just send me a message, and I mainly use Discord, or in rare occasions AIM, just because I still have AIM. People send me messages through that, and I can either get them on my phone or on the computer. It's not surprising that that usage is skyrocketing over standard SMS. SMS is pretty much a dying dinosaur. The only people I know that constantly use SMS is my boss, who needs to stop doing that when he's trying to communicate to me when he knows I'm driving for him. Or my dad, who... I mean, what more is there to say? I mean, it doesn't matter if it's my dad, everyone's dad. They're just now starting to get the hang of texting. Of course they're not going to hop on board with WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger or AIM or Discord or any other service. They're going to whip out their phone. In my dad's case, it's still pretty much a flip phone. And text that way to send messages. On occasion, he sends me emails. So, of course, the older generation is going to do that. Our generation, the younger generation, is going to use methods like this. Because we figured that out. So, this is just them tooting their horn. Account kits... Who cares? I know this is important for developers, but let's be honest. I'm not going to care about this API until I see how other people use it. There's not really any real cute things in here that's going to really be earth-shattering. It's just, it exists. Facebook Live opens to developers, API for live broadcasting. So all the amateurs can now go and live stream out their duck faces and their kissy lips while they're out going, I'm at Disneyland, woo! And then watch their data plan go through the floor because we still have like 4 gigabyte caps. I know I shouldn't criticize live video while I'm live streaming a podcast and when I live stream on Twitch. But there's a time and place for it. And out in the go with a phone, like this, going, "Oh my God, guys!" It's not the place. It really isn't. And I'm not sure how popular I see it becoming. But you know, all the tech outlets are pushing it hard. Really hard. Regardless. Facebook releases bot engine to create much smarter bots. Oh boy! Here we go again! Seriously. Smarter bots. I have yet to see a bot I couldn't stump. I mean, heck. This is one I didn't talk about too much because it was predictable as all heck. But, Microsoft went and put out a bot to tweet and try to communicate with the younger generation accurately and just learn how they talk. And very quickly, the 4chan the poll wing of 4chan, the politically incorrect one, got it to praise Hitler. It's just, come on. And I think bots have a long way to go. Long, long way to go. This article is now open to all publishers. Woo. Facebook lets user record profile videos in third-party apps. Woo. I don't get it. But we'll move on. Facebook starts allowing sponsored messages apps. This is one that, there's not a lot of information about it, but, yeah, this could be a problem down the road. But we'll see. We will see. Facebook launches video rights manager to combat freebooting. New admin tool for pages lets them upload videos they don't want others using. So it's a DMR or DMR. I am forgetting my acronym now. I don't think it's DMR. Starts with a D, definitely. DMC? Whatever. It's a tool. It's a tool to try and prevent pirating and copying. This might as well just be a footnote. This announcement here might as well not even exist. It's just say, don't worry, we're protecting your stuff for 3 months until the next backdoor is found. Here's the thing with the world of hacking. Anytime you think you've outsmarted a hacker or a pirater, there is always a hacker or a pirater that is smarter than you. Every time. Now, I am not one of those hackers. Not even close. But there's always someone smarter. There's always someone who will find a way around it. There's always going to be this match of cat and mouse. There is no surefire way to protect anything. Period. There just isn't. This also goes in line with I said I wasn't going to get political, and therefore I won't. Let's just move on. Facebook Alive. I love this one. It just says, what does it all mean? I don't know, so we're just going to move on. The article doesn't know, why should I care? React Native gets backing from Microsoft and Samsung. Okay, moving on. Oculus Oculus demos a VR selfie stick. A virtual reality selfie stick. Because these weren't obnoxious enough as it is. Oh, no, not obnoxious at all. So we have to go for... just... I want to beat people over the head with their own selfie stick when I see these in real life. Now, that being said, I've seen uses for selfie sticks. In video production, you get some very unique angles using a selfie stick. There, it's useful. In fact, what was it? It was like a month ago on The Amazing Race. They used a selfie stick to get a very nice shot of each of the contestants as they were parasailing over the mountains. Excellent use of a selfie stick. If your sole reason for using a selfie stick is to do this, selfie, you need to be beaten with your own selfie stick. You look like an idiot. That is the dumbest thing you could possibly ever do. VR selfie. Moving on. Facebook's Terragraph and Aries antennas bring internet to underserved areas. So this is where I wanted to get to with the whole Skynet notation. You have Facebook creating chatbots to just communicate with us people. You now have Facebook putting in solar-powered drones to blanket cities in Wi-Fi so that underserved areas can get internet. That's fantastic. They're also now talking about Facebook launching satellites. Like, I don't believe in the whole Skynet conspiracy and whatnot, but, it sounds an awful lot like Skynet, doesn't it? It's not just me, right? It's not me, right? Right? It's not just me. Okay. I think this is cool. But at the same time, I just get little chills. And Facebook will soon be able to automatically tag your friends in videos. So to finish off our whole Facebook Skynet theme, Facebook's robots are now stalking where you are in videos too. I'll be right back. I need to go make a tinfoil hat. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I am Eagle Falcon. So let's move away from all the various tech news. Let's talk about something fun. Everyone likes something a little fun, right? So, a friend of mine is going through the final steps of moving out of town and is very soon going to be in California. So he's going through various where do I go for a good gaming laptop? I'm going to be moving out to a small place, yada yada. So naturally, I recommended him the Inspiron 7000. Then the next day, which is today, I go and just double check on that. The price went up by $200. So now it's been rebranded as the Inspiron 15 Gaming Series, which does kind of show that Dell is going to be sticking with this cheaper sort of gaming laptop sort of experience and label it under the Inspiron series instead of their Alienware brand. But jacked up the price. Holy crap. Just shy of $1,000. Now granted, I'll be fair. It's still a decent buy at $1,000 or at $950, but it is nowhere close to what it used to be. It's nowhere near the deal it was for $950. So I mean, it's still. I mean, like the one for $950 is excellent. I don't even know why you would go for some of these more expensive ones, because just on its face, the value is excellent. You get a 6th generation Core i7 6700 HQ processor. So it's a quad-core processor. I believe it's a 2.6? I'm going off muscle memory on that one, so it might be a little lower. Now, you only get 8 gigs of RAM. That's still more than enough. And it's still a 1-stick, so you can still add more RAM. You still got another slot to add another 8 gig stick. Get yourself up to 16. You've only got a 1 terabyte 5400 RPM hard drive, so your boot time's going to be a little slow. Now granted, it says it's a hybrid drive, which means you have that 8 gigabyte SSD cache. Ignore that. Always ignore that. It's not good. Just let it go. All of them are using the GTX 960M. Great graphic card. The lowest end version has a 1920 by 1080 screen, which it'll work. It's not the best in the world, but it'll work. The other ones have I believe that's 4K. Yeah, the other ones have a 4K display at a 15.6 with better color accuracy and whatnot. Don't even bother. If you're on a budget, just stick with your 1080 and be happy forever. I mean, seriously. Plus, I am a sucker for black with red accents. I mean, the other ones are just gray. One thing to notice, though, with this is that you just get 3 USB ports. 3.0 ports, though, so that's good. One HDMI. That one HDMI that you get with a 4K display port that does have 4K display support, and an RJ45. Not much in ports, but still enough to be functional. You have your Kingston lock, blah, blah, blah. Pretty sure these have an optical drive, but I don't see any note saying they do or don't. They don't mention the SD card slot, but I can clearly see it right here. Yeah, there is no optical drive on this one. So I want to say that's been dropped. But here's the thing. The whole black with red accents, I mean, just look at this. That Dell logo with just the nice red pops out of the black. The heat sinks are red, so that just kind of stands out on the back. It's just a nice little touch that does make it that does make it look so much better than just the gray units with black keys. The gray units with black keys, it just looks like laptops from 2000? Who wants a laptop from the year 2000? No one. No one does. But the price did definitely go up, so that's something to keep in mind. So how does that compare to the rest of Dell's gaming platform? Well, at $950 to compete with that on the Alienware, you are getting an Alienware 13. You get some lights, but not many. The thing to always keep in mind with the Alienware 13 is that if you want that light up trackpad or the light up glow around your laptop, that's not happening on the 13. All you're getting is the light up logo on the back. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. You downgrade drastically, though, on the processor. You are stuck in Core i7-6500U. You're in ultra-low voltage territory now, buddy. So yeah, better battery life. Nobody cares. Nobody cares when all your power is going to a 960M. So, yeah, going with the Alienware option, massive downgrade. Just massive. Well, what about HP's low-budget option? That starts at $900. So it's actually now cheaper than the Dell option, which used to be cheaper. But the HP budget gaming laptop, on the bright side, it does have an optical disk drive. Ooh, who cares? No one cares. But, and I need to find where it says this. Well, once again, HP's doing a great job of being as generic as possible, being very Apple-esque, which drives me insane. Which is NVIDIA GeForce GTX graphics. Great, what are you running? Well, you're running a GTX 950M. So you went from above average to painfully average. As in, you try running some higher end games and you are going to be running on minimum settings. And that might not be a good thing for you. Plus, you're starting off with a Core i5. Here's a pro tip, kids. Go spend the $50 more and get the Dell. So, what should you look for in a gaming laptop? Let's say you don't want to go with either one of these two. You want to go out, search all the brands. Well, this is a question I've been getting a lot, seeing as how everyone's now getting their tax refunds, and they want to get something. So here's a few things to keep in mind. 1, avoid Acer. Always, 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 always avoid Acer like the plague. I cannot stress this enough. Acer usually makes their stuff out of plastic. Even the hinges, more times than not, are made of plastic. This means that your laptop is going to last nowhere near as long as you'd hope. Now, maybe you're just like, well, I just wanted something to be a desktop replacement at home. It's not going to move. And it just has to last until I can afford a better laptop. Then go for it. That is pretty much the only time you should ever consider an Acer. Not to be confused with Asus. Asus... Do your homework first before diving into an Asus. Asus is kind of weird in the fact that they can make very good products, but they have a nasty habit of making really bad garbage when they want to cheapen something out. So with an Asus, you're either going to get something really good, that means that Asus actually put a lot of effort into making it, or they make something that you are going to regret ever laying your eyes upon. And that's also why you get a lot of mixed feelings with Asus. If you find someone who likes their Acer, on the other hand, you have found someone who is either naive, does not use their computer very often, got really lucky, or handles everything like it is made of glass. I am not one of those people. But let's go over a few things. For starters, identifying what makes a gaming computer good. I'm going to use this Asus as an example. As soon as it loads. Okay. So you want to look at the specs for starters. This one, we're going to start with the processor. This has an Intel Core i5-6200U. This model number right here, the 6200U, tells me everything I need to know. For starters, the first number is a 6. That means it runs on the 6th generation processor. Alright, we're currently on 6th generation. That's good. The remaining 3 digits, that identifies the rest of the processor. Feel free to use Intel Arc to get all the details on it by looking that up. But here is the last thing you want to look at. You want to look that U tells you a lot. U means ultra low voltage. This is a low powered 15 watt processor. This also means that it's dual core. It's dual core, and that 2.3 gigahertz, that's going to feel even slower than it would be on a full mobile processor. No. Do not get this laptop on that. Do not get a gaming laptop that runs on an ultra-low voltage processor. An ultra-low voltage processor is fine if the goal of the laptop is for basic usage. For things like Word documents, minor edits, light gaming, like older games, or like not a Candy Crush. Don't ever play Candy Crush, by the way. Or like Bejeweled, or Stardew Valley, those sort of things. This would be fine for. If you plan on playing bigger games, such as Dark Souls, that is the first one that comes. That's the only one that comes to mind right now because everyone's playing Dark Souls, or World of Warcraft, or Final Fantasy XIV. Anything that you know uses high-end graphics, or Borderlands, or Blade and Soul. That's all the games I can currently see on my desktop that fall into that category. Then you want a full-sized mobile processor. So, do not get this one. Alright, then you want to look at the RAM. You want to make sure it has at least 8 gigs. 8 gigs is more than enough for whatever you're going to use it for. But, you know, the more the merrier, all that jazz. Nothing wrong with it. And then, you know, screen resolution. You can pretty much know your screen resolution. You want to try and avoid 1366 by 768. Though on the bright side, if you game on 1366 by 768 and can tolerate that low resolution, it's going to be a lot lighter on your system, for starters. And that actually brings to an important detail. About 1080p is about average for gaming right now. If you want to try and game on a laptop monitor that is higher resolution, that goes into the 2K or 4K territory, you better have a really, really beefy card, because the higher the resolution, the more stress that graphic card is going to be under, and then the lower settings you have to use. So you can go like, oh yeah, I'm on my 4K monitor, but in order to have frame rates that are not terrible, like 3 frames per second, you got to have it at the lowest settings, and that's just don't do it. Don't ever do it. Alright, so already I've eliminated this one, which is a shame because it looks like a very nice slim laptop. So let's go with something else, shall we? How about what's a good one? This one looks pretty nice, this MSI. And we let it load, which it doesn't do for a while. So, here we have the MSI GL62, blah, blah, blah. Right off the bat, it has an Intel Core i5-6300HQ. So, I'm not familiar with what the H stands for, but the Q is an important note here. That means it is a quad-core processor. That is what you want. On top of that, there is no U here, so it's not ultra-low voltage. So you got 2.3 gigahertz, quad-core, no restrictions on it, other than, you know, being a mobile processor. Which also explains why it's at a low clock speed. Good work there. That's going to be fantastic. It's going to be super down the road. You've currently got an NVIDIA GTX 960M, you know, above average. You only got 2 gigs of RAM on there, but that's more than enough on a graphic card. The only time you really want 4 or more is if your screen resolution is above 1080. This one's at 1080, so any more RAM on the graphic card is irrelevant. Now, don't let that confuse you with the actual RAM on the system. On the actual RAM on the system, you want 8 gigs. And here you do have a 1 terabyte hard drive, so you're not going to have the nice fast boot speeds of an SSD, but let's be honest, on a budget you can live without that. And this one you can even downgrade a little bit. Or no, you can't, never mind. I lied. Oh, you can't. You can customize that one a little bit. But let's actually take a look at the ports here. This actually brings me to another key point down the road. Because my friend brought up that he was thinking about the Razer Blade Stealth. And I had to talk him out of it because, well, first off, this MSI would be a much better choice for what he's planning on doing. The ports, I'm trying to get a good picture of it, but I see a Type-C on here. And I want to make sure that actually is, I want to make sure that's either Type-C or a Thunderbolt. If that is a Thunderbolt on there, and not just a USB Type-C, that means that down the road, you are sitting very happy at actually at being able to hook up an external. Nope, it's just a Type-C. It's not a Thunderbolt. RIP. But if you can find one that's got a Thunderbolt on it, a Thunderbolt 3, which looks like a Type-C, down the road you can hook up an external graphic card through that port. They're working on an open platform right now. So far, it's only open to AMD. NVIDIA, I guarantee you, will jump on it later on. Don't panic. Don't panic. And then you can hook up an external graphic card on there. Now, maybe you are an AMD fan. My friend is an AMD fan. And that's his prerogative. I personally disagree at this point, just because NVIDIA wins on so many other marks. That might change when the next generation comes out. It sounds more like NVIDIA is moving to a more power-hungry architecture and kind of stepping backwards from what they used to do. That's kind of a damn shame. And AMD sounds like they're making a more power-efficient one. So if that holds true, AMD could very easily become a much better graphic card to use. And it would be about time that AMD starts being competitive. But shopping for now, there was a Lenovo I saw. Not that one. It's this one. It's running an R9 M380. If you're an AMD fan going, oh, finally, a 380, that sounds really good, and it has the brand I like. First off, don't get this laptop for a number of reasons. For starters, it's using an AMD processor. AMD processors right now are terrible performance. It takes the highest end AMD chip to keep up with a mid-range Core i5. It's not even funny how not even close it is. Now, granted, if you're in the very low-end market, an AMD processor might be better for you if the Intel option just has the generic Intel GPU, because the AMD processor does have a much better integrated GPU. But if you're going for a gaming laptop, go with the Intel option and go get yourself an NVIDIA GeForce card in it. The other thing I want to get to is actually with the GPU. GPU, VPU? Ew. VPU sounds so gross. The AMD GPUs right now, as I said before, are not very power efficient. When you scale down a GPU into a laptop, you are not looking to hit a performance mark like you are with a desktop GPU. You are looking to hit a power consumption benchmark. NVIDIA's Maxwell architecture. I don't know how many unicorns they managed to find in order to get it as power efficient as it is, but it is insanely power efficient. To the point where their third most powerful graphic card for the desktop ring uses only one 6-pin adapter. Their second most powerful uses 2 6-pins. AMD currently requires on their highest end GPU 2 8-pins. Or actually, I want to say it's 3 actually. But the point is that because they're so power inefficient, their mobile GPUs suffer drastically. So this M380 is probably closer to the performance level of a GT 940. And I'm not saying this to bash on AMD. I'm saying this more as a warning. Avoid AMD GPUs for now. Down the road, if everything's holding true, AMD will end up being the superior choice for graphic cards. And really, they need to be. Because as much as I enjoy using NVIDIA stuff, NVIDIA needs AMD around to push NVIDIA to keep being as good as they are. That's just the facts. That simply is the facts. Just as AMD needs to start stepping up their game in the CPU world. Because it's just getting embarrassing how much Intel is just slaughtering AMD out there. But that's it from me today. Feel free to follow me here on YouTube, or subscribe to me on the podcast in the audio version. That's it from me. You have any questions? Email me at eaglefalcontech@gmail.com. Rest well, everyone. Take care. And good night.